Welcome back to the channel. What if I told you that 3 pennies sitting in your pocket change could actually be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars? Sounds unbelievable, right? But as coin collectors know, hidden treasures sometimes appear in the most ordinary places. And today, we're diving deep into one of those treasures, the 1998 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin. Now, most people would glance at a penny and dismiss it as almost worthless. After all, it's just a cent. But not all pennies are created equal. Some have a history, some hide mistakes, and some, like the 1998 D, carry rare errors that turn them from everyday pocket change into coins worth a fortune. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that looks ordinary, yet collectors would pay tens of thousands of dollars just to add it to their collection. Let's start by looking at the story of the 1998 D penny. It was minted in Denver, which is why it carries that little D mint mark on the front, just under the date. At first glance, it looks like any other Lincoln cent. You see Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, that iconic design by Victor David Brenner that has been around since 1909. On the reverse, you have the Lincoln Memorial design by Frank Gasparo, which ran from 1959 through 2008. But what makes 1998 D coins so fascinating isn't the regular design. It's the errors, the subtle differences, and the rare circumstances in which they were struck. Minting errors can happen in many ways. Sometimes a die gets doubled, creating a double die obverse where parts of the design look doubled or shadowed. Other times, a coin might be struck off-center, where the design is shifted and part of the blank metal remains exposed. There can also be proof errors, where coins meant for collectors are struck improperly and somehow enter circulation. With the 1998 D penny, error types like double dies and misstrikes have made certain pieces extremely rare. And when rarity meets demand, the value skyrockets. Picture this. You're rolling pennies, just trying to get them out of your change jar. Suddenly you notice something a little odd about the lettering, or maybe Lincoln's face looks slightly doubled. You might shrug it off, or if you're a keen-eyed collector, you realize you could be holding a coin worth thousands. That's the thrill of coin collecting. It's like a treasure hunt hidden in plain sight. The 1998 D penny is also important because it came out in the late 1990s, just before a major design change for U.S. currency coins. Collectors often seek coins from transitional years, and this adds even more appeal. Combine that with the possibility of striking errors, and you have a recipe for a coin that collectors fight over in auctions. Speaking of auctions, this is where things get even more exciting. Some 1998 D error pennies have been sold at prestigious auction houses, fetching mind-blowing amounts of money. Depending on the condition and depending on the type of error, these coins have sold anywhere between $27,000 and $195,000. Imagine turning a single penny into a small fortune. Now that's the kind of story that makes your jaw drop. Let's think about it for a moment. Why would anyone pay over $100,000 for a coin that says 1 cent on it? The answer is history, rarity, and the passion of collectors. Every coin tells a story. The 1998 D penny tells us about the precision, or sometimes the mistakes, of the U.S. Mint, about the transition of coin designs, and about how something so small can captivate the imagination of people all over the world. For some collectors, owning one of these rare errors is like owning a piece of hidden American history. But here's the real kicker. You might already have one of these coins and not even know it. How many times have you glanced at your change, saw a penny, and tossed it aside without a second thought? The truth is, your next coin hunt might reveal a 1998 D worth tens of thousands of dollars. It could be sitting in a jar on your desk, in the cup holder of your car, or tucked into an old piggy bank. Think about the excitement of checking your coins closely, holding a magnifying glass to the date, the lettering, the tiny mint mark, and suddenly realizing you're looking at a double die or another rare error. That thrill is what keeps collectors searching, and it's what makes stories like this so irresistible. And if you're wondering whether these coins really get sold for such high prices, the answer is yes. Repeated auctions have proven the demand. Collectors have paid staggering amounts. Again, between $27,000 and $195,000 because these coins are that rare and that special. The price range depends on condition, rarity of the error, and of course the demand in the auction room. The next time you see a penny, don't dismiss it. Don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. You never know if that little copper-colored coin might just be hiding a six-figure surprise. The 1998 D Lincoln 1 cent is proof that hidden treasures can still be found in the simplest places. Now, imagine yourself holding one of these coins, realizing its value, and maybe even cashing it in an auction. What would you do with $195,000 that came from a single penny? The possibilities are endless, but the story itself is priceless. Check your change. Search through those coin jars and keep your eyes open. Because somewhere out there, another 1998 D. Lincoln penny is waiting to be discovered, and it might just end up in your hands. This coin can be worth anywhere between $27,000 to $195,000, depending on its condition. If you enjoyed this coin mystery, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another story about the hidden treasures in your pocket change. Who knows? The next rare coin we talk about might be sitting in your wallet right now. What if I told you that a single penny struck in the 1970s could change your life forever? It might sound impossible, but that is the thrill of coin collecting. Ordinary-looking coins sometimes hold extraordinary secrets. Today's story is about the 1974 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that looks like the kind of penny you've seen 1,000 times before, yet when the right error or rarity is present, it transforms into a treasure so valuable that collectors have paid anywhere between $30,156 and an astonishing $222,000 at auction. Really understand the allure of the 1974 Lincoln penny. Let's step back in time. The year was 1974, and the U.S. Mint was experimenting with new materials for coins. Copper prices were climbing, and the Mint began searching for cheaper alternatives. This period created a wave of unusual minting practices, experiments, and as a result, collectible rarities. While the standard penny was still made primarily of copper, special experimental pieces were struck in aluminum. Some slipped out into the hands of government officials and collectors, sparking decades of fascination and legal disputes. But the regular 1974 pennies, those struck at the San Francisco Mint, also carry a mystique of their own. This mint mark beneath the date immediately identifies these coins as coming from San Francisco, which during that era was known for producing proof coins. Proof coins are struck with greater care, using polished dies and planchets to create sharp, mirror-like surfaces and crisp details. While many of these proof coins were saved by collectors, a tiny handful bear unusual traits, errors, variations, and anomalies that send their values soaring. The design, of course, is familiar. Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that has been on the penny since 1909. On the reverse, Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial design, introduced in 1959, proudly displays the monument with Lincoln himself visible inside the tiny central statue. But what looks ordinary at a glance can hide remarkable differences. One of the most famous error types you might find on a 1974 penny is the double die. Imagine looking at the words "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" and noticing that the letters appear shadowed, almost like they were stamped twice. That's the result of a double die, caused when the die itself is improperly made and transfers a doubled image onto the coin. Collectors go wild for these errors because they're dramatic, easily visible, and extremely rare. Another possible error is an off-center strike, where part of the design is missing because the coin wasn't centered correctly when struck. Then there are proof errors, coins struck with flaws that slip through the mint's quality control. Because proof coins are supposed to be flawless, any mistake makes them not just rare, but uniquely desirable. Think about this for a second. Millions of pennies are minted every year, but only a handful escape with noticeable errors. And out of those, only the most pristine survive long enough to attract serious collectors decades later. That's why, when one of these rare 1974 pennies turns up at auction, the bidding can get heated, pushing prices to incredible heights. Repeated sales at major auction houses have demonstrated that collectors will pay whatever it takes to secure one of these rarities. Imagine yourself holding a 1974 penny. To the untrained eye, it might look just like any other cent from the 1970s. But then, under a magnifying glass, you notice something unusual, a doubling on the lettering, a misaligned strike, or perhaps a cameo contrast on a proof coin that stands out as unique. Suddenly, that penny in your hand is no longer worth just 1 cent. It could be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. What makes this even more thrilling is that these coins sometimes appear in the most unexpected places. People have found them in old proof sets passed down from grandparents, tucked away in collections that were never carefully examined, or even among loose change when someone cracked open a proof set and accidentally let the coin circulate. The chance of discovery is what keeps collectors searching. It's a real-life treasure hunt hiding in plain sight. The story of a 1974 penny also ties into one of the most fascinating chapters in U.S. coin history, the 1974 aluminum cents. While technically a different variety, their existence created a surge of interest in pennies from that year. Rumors swirled about hidden aluminum cents worth fortunes, but even the regular 1974 copper cents gained recognition when rare proof errors began surfacing. Collectors started checking their proof sets more carefully, and auction records began climbing higher and higher. Now, here's where the suspense really builds. You're probably wondering, how much can one of these coins actually be worth? The answer will astonish you. At auction, 1974 Lincoln pennies with rare errors or exceptional proof qualities have sold for prices ranging from $30,156 to an incredible $222,000. Think about that. A coin that says 1 cent on its face selling for the price of a luxury car or even a house. It's almost hard to believe, but the auction records prove it. Let's pause here and imagine the scene at one of these auctions. The room is filled with eager bidders, each one holding their paddle high as the auctioneer announces the lot. A rare 1974 Lincoln penny, graded pristine, with a known double-die obverse. The bidding starts modestly, but quickly escalates as collectors realize what's at stake. Thousands become tens of thousands, and the tension in the room builds. Finally, the hammer drops at well over $100,000, and the crowd erupts in applause. For the winning bidder, it's not just about owning a coin. It's about owning history, rarity, and bragging rights. And the best part? You don't need to be a millionaire to get started in this hobby. Anyone can search their coins, check old collections, and keep an eye out for unusual traits. Every great collector started somewhere. And sometimes the rarest finds come to those who simply take the time to look closely. So, what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you come across a 1974 penny, whether in a proof set, in your family's coin box, or even sitting forgotten in a drawer, you should give it a second look. That coin might not just be pocket change. It might be a ticket to an auction room where bidders are willing to pay over $200,000 for the privilege of owning what you discovered. The 1974 Lincoln penny proves a powerful lesson. Don't overlook the smallest things. A penny might seem insignificant, but when combined with history, rarity, and a touch of luck, it becomes a treasure. Collectors have proven time and time again at auctions, paying extraordinary sums between $30,156 and $222,000, that these coins are worth chasing. Check your proof sets. Look through those old coin albums and grab a magnifying glass. The treasure could already be sitting in your home. This coin, under the right circumstances, can be worth anywhere between $30,156 and $222,000, depending on its condition and rarity. If you enjoyed learning about this coin mystery, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss another story about hidden treasures and pocket change. Who knows? The next coin we talk about might be waiting in your collection right now, just waiting to be discovered. What if I told you that a small copper coin, the kind you've seen a million times before and probably ignored, could actually be worth a fortune? Not just a few hundred or a couple $1,000s, but the kind of money that changes lives. That's the magic of rare coins. And today we're diving deep into the story of the 1958 United States Lincoln 1 cent penny, a coin that looks simple but hides a value that has stunned collectors time and again. At major auctions, special varieties of this coin have fetched anywhere between $34,000 and an astonishing $286,000. To understand why this penny is so captivating, let's go back to the year 1958. America was in the middle of cultural change. Rock and roll was booming, space exploration was heating up, and Abraham Lincoln's portrait still graced the humble 1 cent coin, just as it had since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the penny shows Lincoln in profile, a tribute to one of America's most beloved presidents. On the reverse, you'll find the wheat ears design, 2 stalks of wheat framing the words 1 cent. This wheat design, in place since the coin's introduction, would make 1958 the final year it was used. In 1959, the coin would transition to the Lincoln Memorial reverse, marking a new era. That alone makes the 1958 penny special. It was the end of an era. But it's not just about history. What makes certain 1958 pennies worth a fortune are the rare errors and varieties created during the minting process. Think of the U.S. Mint in 1958, producing millions of coins. Even with advanced machinery, mistakes slipped through. And it is those mistakes, those errors, that have become golden tickets for collectors. Point one of the most famous varieties linked to 1958 is the double die obverse. Picture the inscriptions on the coin. In God we trust, liberty, and the date 1958. On a double die coin, these features look as though they were struck twice, leaving a shadowed or doubled effect that even the naked eye can notice. It's bold, dramatic, and unmistakable. These double die pennies are among the most sought after by collectors. Why? Because they are both rare and visually striking. In fact, one 1958 double die penny has fetched hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, and only a handful are believed to exist. Other possible errors include off-center strikes, where the design doesn't align correctly with the coin blank, leaving a portion of the surface blank. There are also die breaks, where cracks in the die transfer odd, raised lines or blobs onto the coin, making each error coin unique. Proof errors, although rare, can occur as well, where specially struck collector coins contain mistakes that were supposed to be caught before leaving the mint. Now, here's where the suspense really builds. Imagine holding an old wheat penny in your hand, something you might have overlooked countless times before. But on closer inspection, you notice something unusual: the doubling in the letters, the misaligned strike, or an odd mark that signals a mint error. Suddenly, you're no longer holding a 1-cent coin. You could be holding a piece worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The appeal of the 1958 penny goes beyond errors, though. As the last year of the wheat penny design, even standard 1958 pennies hold a special place in collections. But when combined with a dramatic error, their value skyrockets. Collectors know how rare these are, and when one comes up for auction, bidding wars ignite. Picture the scene in an auction room. The auctioneer announces a 1958 Lincoln penny with a verified double die obverse. Collectors lean forward in anticipation. The bidding starts modestly but quickly jumps. 5,000 becomes 10, 10 becomes 50, and soon the room buzzes with excitement as the bids climb higher and higher. Finally, the hammer falls, and the coin sells for well over 6 figures. This isn't just a coin. It's a treasure, a piece of history, and a symbol of rarity that collectors can't resist, and the numbers prove it. Repeated auction results show this coin's incredible desirability. Depending on condition, rarity, and specific error type, the 1958 Lincoln penny has sold at prices ranging from $34,000 to a jaw-dropping $286,000. Think about that for a moment. A coin worth 1 cent commanding the price of a luxury car or even a home. That's the power of rarity and collector demand. But here's the best part. These coins don't just belong to museums or elite collectors. They've been discovered by ordinary people, coin roll hunters, families going through old jars of change, or heirs sorting through collections left behind by grandparents. That means you could already have one sitting in a box, waiting to be discovered. It's worth emphasizing just how unlikely and exciting these finds are. Out of the millions of pennies minted in 1958, only a handful display the dramatic double die obverse. That rarity is exactly why collectors are willing to pay so much. And because these coins are often found by chance, the story of discovery becomes part of the thrill. Imagine the rush of realizing that a penny you've had for decades could be worth more than your car, more than your yearly salary, or even more than your house. And that is why collectors never stop looking. They examine every coin closely, searching for the telltale signs. A magnifying glass, a little patience, and some knowledge are all it takes to spot one of these incredible rarities that has, oh, what does this mean for you? It means the next time you come across a 1958 penny, you shouldn't dismiss it as just another old coin. Check it carefully. Look at the inscriptions for doubling. Study the edges for misalignments. Examine the surface for unusual markings. You never know. You might be staring at a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The story of the 1958 Lincoln penny is the perfect example of how something so small and ordinary can turn into a treasure beyond imagination. From a simple 1-cent piece, minted in the millions, comes a rare handful of coins so valuable that collectors have battled for them at auctions, paying anywhere from $34,000 to $286,000. So the lesson is clear. Never underestimate the power of a penny. Your change jar, your coin collection, even the pennies passed down through your family, could hold secrets waiting to be uncovered. And when those secrets involve rare errors, The value is staggering. This coin, depending on its condition and variety, can be worth anywhere between $34,000 and $286,000. That's life-changing money hiding in plain sight. So grab a magnifying glass, dig through those old jars, and take a closer look at your coins. The treasure hunt is real, and the next rare find could be sitting right in your hands. And if you love stories like this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss another mystery about hidden treasures in everyday change. Who knows? The next fortune might be sitting in your pocket right now, just waiting to be discovered.